Hello, welcome everyone. We are live 201 sessions of I Need Living Conversations. I am Julian Katari. I'm with Blue Heron Woman. We are talking about sports and we are talking about things that have to do with the American dream, this thing that we've all been, even non-Americans have learned about and have sought at some point or another. Maybe not everyone, but many people think and dream about the American dream. What is the American dream? And what is the cult of the American dream? And how's this cult destroying the world? Maybe that's what's happening to a great extent. So that's what we're going to talk about in this session. Welcome everyone to Any Living Conversations, and let's get started.
So the cult of the American dream, how trauma and pain become doctrine.
Okay. Trauma and pain. So you've been talking a lot about the cult. We have a cult to pain. So instead of seeking pleasure, we like the pain. We glorify pain. And I like to, that's something I criticize a lot from like the Mexican worldview or mindset, where people will glorify at least it's like if you're overwork, like being too good of a worker is too glorified down here. If you know, if you're doing two jobs and you don't have time for yourself, oh, you're a good person because you're doing two jobs.
Well, that's the cult of the American dream. That's the cult of the West. Yeah. It's the cult of the conquistador, really.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And to make this more poignant here, last Saturday,
mm-hmm.
I went to eat, and it's football season, college football season, right? So I went to a tavern to eat, and of course the football game is on, and they're talking about this young player, college-age young player, who had irritable bowel syndrome, and they televised the fact that he has a colostomy and poops through his intestines into a bag.
Okay.
That hangs on his stomach. They televised this. This is how much we worship pain and suffering.
Okay. Now I'm getting,
that this is okay. This is glorious. He's still playing football, even though he poops through a bag in his stomach, which he didn't need to do if he'd only researched alternative healing.
Yeah.
Totally unnecessary for him to poop through a bag, but it's glorified. It's the same thing. You go into any good Catholic household. What's the first thing you see? Jesus hanging on a cross.
Suffering. That's how it's got to be. Oh, yeah. You get started on those Catholics because.
But it's not just Catholics. They're the ones that have it in your face the most, but we all worship suffering. The bottom line is it's upside down. Our world is upside down. The bottom line is our subconscious always wants to go for pleasure, not pain. But we've subverted it to go for pain instead of pleasure.
Yeah.
So that's normal, but it's not normal, because that's not what's normal to nature. So Americans are immediately identifiable the world around. It's like we have a stencil, and everything that comes out of our mouths adheres to that stencil, and nothing else can reach us. I know. I'm guilty of that too. So the American dream, America, the greatest country in the world, has been trying to deprogram our basic humanity for years, for decades, for centuries. Exploitation and objectification are obligatory, while deprioritizing and negating every metric of well-being is the norm. Nothing matters more than freedom is the official doctrine to cover all this up. But yet we wake up every day already in debt. Before our eyes open, we owe on our house, we owe on our cars, we owe on our education, we owe on our health. If we've been in the hospital once, we owe on our health.
Mm-hmm.
Our whole lives are chained to subscription slavery and wage slavery. And yes, subscription slavery, everything's about the fucking subscription. Save a whole $1 a month if you subscribe.
Mm-hmm.
Our whole existence is leased. It's on loan from the moment we're born, plugged into a system that feeds on us financially, psychologically, and spiritually. And we're told that it's all freedom and the best system there is, and that we should be grateful and happy for all the freedom we have, because look at all the countries around us that have no freedom. But yet, European Union, they take 2 weeks of vacation twice a year.
Yeah.
Right? In Canada, it's mandated that you get a federal holiday once a month if there's a federal holiday in that month or not.
Mm-hmm.
Only America loves to stick to a 40 to 80 fucking hour work week and think we're free because we work 40 to 80 hours.
Mm.
We live in a bubble of euphemisms. We work like slaves. We sell our time, which is what our life is. Our presence is time. And actually, we don't sell it because selling it would imply a choice, but we don't really have a choice about selling our time, because from the moment we enter this world, we have to justify our existence within the profit model.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say that again. From the moment we enter this world through our mother's birth canal, we have to justify our existence within the profit model. It's 100% true.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So whatever intrinsic value we have as human beings, because we're human beings, and whatever our purpose is, gets subordinated by necessity to a job that we don't care about for people we don't even know, in a company that will replace us with a machine or AI or robots or whatever they can, because the less they have to pay the human, the better. Right? Robots, they don't have to pay for healthcare for. So
Mm-hmm.
our dignity is tied to our productivity. And if you don't produce, you don't eat, or you don't get shelter, or you don't deserve peace. Not that anyone deserves peace in the American dream. It's because we've been at war for the entire time the American dream has been alive.
Mm-hmm.
So the bottom line is, here's the cold, hard truth. And this might sound like bitterness. It's not. This is the cold, hard truth about this cult of the American dream. We're only worth what we can generate monetarily from someone else. And that got drilled into me in nursing school. Nursing came up with these stupid nursing diagnoses we had to do because we wanted to make money like surgeons. We wanted to have billable hours like surgeons and lawyers.
Okay.
We're only worth what we can generate monetarily from someone else.
Yeah.
Are we really willing to continue that lifestyle? So we cope, we consume, we scroll, we eat, we buy things we don't need on credit to reward ourselves with the cold comfort of frivolous goods. Oh, and the best part of it is we're rewarding ourselves for the hard work we're doing to keep the cycle going.
Mm-hmm.
We bury ourselves in entertainment that makes us feel maybe a little less numb for a few hours, because we can only feel alive by watching fiction or by watching stupid idiots throw pigskins around a field who make millions of dollars a year for doing nothing but throwing pigskins around the field.
That's like football.
Yeah.
Pigskin. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what you mean. Mm-hmm.
Or I don't know what basketballs are made of. Same thing. You know, I mean, I kind of like soccer because I can understand it, so I won't bash on soccer and hockey, but it's all the same. It really is all the same thing. We're paying these people billions of dollars to do nothing.
Yeah, it's too much, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's far too. Yeah.
So that we can feel alive by watching them play.
Yeah.
Right? We live alone. We're being pushed more and more, glorified. Isolation is glorified. With little to no human interaction or connection, we walk through crowds like ghosts. Our families are scattered, and most of our friends are avatars on screens curated versions of people pretending to not be miserable with their Instagrammable lives that no one is actually living.
Yeah, that's getting me so sick,
Oh.
That Instagrammable life. That's cool that you bring it up, because everything's been reduced to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what matters now. So how you look through your Instagram, it doesn't matter
Yeah.
what
Your avatar on screen. Yep.
Yeah.
Our bodies are malnourished and overstimulated. We're chemically altered from morning to night. Red Bulls are monster drinks to wake up. Pills to concentrate, sugar to cope, weed to relax on top of everything else, and then porn to escape, and finally melatonin to fall asleep at night. We, the American dream, have no clue how to live without chemical augmentation. We don't remember what it's like to be fully human, because this is the only version of human that the cult defines as human, is chemically altered.
Mm.
The cult says that dysfunction is beautiful and sex isn't sacred or intimate anymore. It's a commodity, a performance, and a sport. We're taught that our body is our sole value, desirability is our identity. And as women, we're trained to be attractive, to be desired, but not to love. We treat people and relationships like consumables, and then we wonder why we feel so disposable. Cults flatten people to pure function. They turn their members into sexual slaves for those at the top. And we see it across social media. Women objectifying themselves, sexualizing themselves for sponsorship. The flattening
Just
of
for
women.
likes. Yeah, and just for
And for
likes.
likes. Yeah,
Not
for
even
likes. Not
those that is,
not
I
even
mean,
for
for money.
sponsorship.
Yeah,
For likes, right?
like fake attention, because not even real attention.
Yeah, I know. And so women are becoming more neurotic, more depressed, and more anxious because of social media. We accept what the cult tells us we should want and have because that's what the elite has, and yet we've accepted that only the elites can have what they, what they tell us we want to have. So conformity is relentlessly enforced, and we memorize scripts like dogma. The cult has relieved us of having to think. We're only allowed to think that we are choosing within the totalistic cult compound of America that shrinks the menu of all available decisions until obedience itself feels self-chosen. Our cities are violent, our police are militarized, our children are medicated, our politicians are circus acts, our presidents are circus acts, and we're ruled by corporate landlords. We're entertained by corporate propaganda, educated by corporate institutions, and treated at a very high cost by corporate pharmaceuticals. We're captured in every which way and direction, and yet we still think we're free and we're the greatest country in the world. Reality is that getting sick, married, educated, and dying bankrupts us. Yes, even dying bankrupts us, because you have to have the top of the line coffin and a funeral service and the procession. And we all wholeheartedly believe in this American dream and think it's the only way. And don't realize that we live a ritual of slow death funded by our labor. We're told that everyone outside our cult is lost, miserable, and suffering unless they conform to what our cult wants them to conform to. We're told that we've been deprogrammed from the oppressive traditions, age-old customs, and understanding because we're more evolved and our leaders are more enlightened than anyone else. And this is all falsehood. Absolutely fallacious nonsense. They normalize worse and worse things by the day as a way of trying to deprogram our humanity while they call it freedom and progress. America is literally a trauma factory. If you destabilize someone enough, traumatize them just right, you can make them rebuild their whole identity around any ideology or framework. Our system is built to traumatize us, not dramatically, just low level consistently. Low-grade crisis trauma. Our jobs are insecure. Our housing is insecure. Our relationships are fragile. And we're being told to be afraid of many various boogeymen, like the Iraqis and the Africans and the Mexicans. And be afraid of anybody who's not white.
Mm-hmm.
In the American dream, we're overstimulated, overworked, undernourished, emotionally neglected, and spiritually starved. And then we're given a framework to process the trauma that's been inflicted on us. So we're traumatized by the system and then indoctrinated by the same system to interpret the trauma as part of the system's necessity. And that is 100% the truth.
Mm-hmm.
We're indoctrinated, we're traumatized by the system, and then indoctrinated to interpret the trauma as necessary.
Natural.
Trauma makes identity malleable because when we're emotionally disoriented, we become desperate for certainty, security, and meaning. It keeps us broken enough to doubt our instincts while still functional enough to work, to buy, and to laterally, meaning between us, reinforce the programming. And in this state, our inner divinity, our true natural self, gets overwritten. We were all born knowing the divine cosmic truths of our true nature inside us, but we get conditioned to interpret the suffering imposed on us through the lens of the conquistador or the victimizer until we're grateful for the misery and defend the colonizer, the conquistador, the victimizer, and until we call prison a sanctuary. And that's how cults work. We cheer for our own trauma because we've been told it makes us free. Our collapse into machines has been commodified. Our degradation and inversion of our human dignity and decency are all monetizable. We can sell tickets to our own ruin, to our own rot, and the cult celebrates us for that. It's traumatized loyalty and obedience, spiritual Stockholm syndrome. Stockholm syndrome is where you identify with your aggressor or your conquistador. So we're born into this machine that feeds on misery and where it's fuel. And if this sounds bitter, I'm not the least bit bitter. This is the cold, hard truth we have to look at in the face.
With sweetness and positivity.
Yeah.
Because that's otherwise, if we don't look at it, then we're gaslighting ourselves.
Yeah. So yet none of us seem to realize that we don't have to stay in this cult. There's no obligation to stay in this cult. The pathology of the cult is that if a country or nation or the other has something that the cult wants, they hate, they demean, they dehumanize, and then they tell us the other is going to do something really bad to us if we don't drop bombs on them. They need the other to not be human so they can morally justify to themselves all of the cruelty and brutality they will employ. The most obvious form of brutality is slavery. From the enslaved Africans, they wanted the labor and the wealth that was produced with the labor. Other nations have had slaves. The Muslims, for instance, have had slaves, but no one else in the world assigns slaves subhuman status like the cult of the American dream did. The slaves in the Muslim world could rise to a higher socioeconomic status than their masters, and the slave and the owner might be brothers. But in Christian America, the slave is a beast of burden, and the owner is a sadistic beastmaster. The cult, doesn't know how, and we have to ask ourselves how much we participate in this, because I'm not pointing fingers at anybody. We have to ask ourselves. When I say they, we have to ask ourselves how we participate in it. Don't know how or don't believe in peaceful, equitable transactions because aini or mutual benefit represents some sort of loss. The great Christian American dream was built on stolen land, sustained by stolen labor, by dehumanizing everyone who had what they wanted, while pretending to be good, righteous people who believe that all are created equal, while treating others as less than equal and not even fully human. We convince ourselves, or they convince themselves, that chattel slavery doesn't contradict claims of virtue. The insatiable, ruthless hunger for more, because we don't believe we're enough inside. That's the only reason why. Can't understand the idea of coexistence because of the philosophy of the last man standing. The last man standing wins, right? So for the cult of the Christian American dream, capitalism means we make the money, we make the profit, everything is ours and nothing is yours. And that's not capitalism, that's truly barbarism. Believing in our own importance by dehumanizing everyone else who has what we want does not make America the greatest country in the world. I'm sorry, it doesn't. So how do we destabilize, and dehumanize? Oh, by sanctions. So let's talk about sanctions that most of us don't even know anything about. Sanctions imposed by the cult of the Christian American dream and the European Union that have killed 38 million people since the 1970s. Let's say this again. The American dream has killed 38 million people since the 1970s. So every decision we make to buy something kills somebody.
Yeah. Hard to imagine.
Yeah.
And amazing that knowing this, somebody would choose to continue doing that.
Yeah.
Because it's comfortable. I don't get to see it.
I don't have to see it. Yeah, I'm not experiencing, so whatever. This is part of the pendulums. What Vadim Zeland is like, don't buy into it, don't listen to it. Well, we kind of have to, because we're all humans. We're all in the same. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole right now, but so sanctions have been used to discipline and punish. Why? What gives America, the American dream, the right to discipline and punish anybody? Nothing. Nothing does. Sanctions are economic strangulation that causes mass death. In the 1970s, an average of 15 countries or sovereign nations were under Western unilateral sanctions at any given time. The sanctions targeted economies by cutting off access to trade and finance, provoking internal domestic crises to collapse governments. When Salvador Allende was democratically elected, Richard Nixon, the president of the American cult, told his advisors to make the Chilean economy scream. It was ordered. All that trauma we talked about was ordered by the president of the American dream.
Yeah, and we covered this in one of the shows. If somebody wants to go watch it.
It's just kind of putting a cap on this to say that was ordered. That was sanctioned.
Yeah,
by America.
Nothing's happens randomly. Everything, at least in the world politically, has to do with some agenda.
So by the
I'm sorry, and it's not a theory, it's a fact.
It's fact. Absolutely. Yeah. It's not a theory, it's not conspiracy theory, it is a freaking fact.
Yeah.
So by the 1990s and 2000s, the number of countries under sanctions had doubled. 30 countries at any one time were sanctioning, meaning we're starving kids. Literally, not figuratively, literally. Today, it's more than 60 at any given time.
So it's getting worse.
Yes.
And we think we've not in World War III, World War II anymore, but we are in World War III now.
We've been in World War III for quite a while.
Yeah.
And we already talked about that, how that started with 9/11. World War III and global war on terror, that's World War III. Right. So with each passing decade, the death toll climbs. In Iraq, U.S.-led sanctions after the 1991 Gulf War devastated the economy. Iraqis couldn't get clean water, for example. Imagine your life without taking a shower. All of you all out there who have to have 2 showers a day, imagine your life without taking a shower or being able to even drink water because they were prevented by us from purchasing water pumps for their water facilities. And and hundreds and thousands of children died.
Mm-hmm.
The year 2017 has us ramping up sanctions on Venezuela. Studies show that 40,000 people died in 1 year in Venezuela because of our sanctions.
Mm.
And why did we sanction them? Because we fucking want the oil under their country. That's all. So that I can purchase a new SUV every year. Or a big ass truck every year. In 2021 alone, sanctions were responsible. Let's get the 2021. 4 years ago, sanctions were responsible for 780,000 deaths. Our lifestyle, people, anyone watching our great American lifestyle kills 780,000 people a year.
Mm.
Who suffers? Not the politicians, not the elite, but the children, the elderly, and the women. Since 2012, more than 1 million people, 1 million children have died as a result of sanctions.
Mm-hmm.
It's not collateral damage, it's the intended effect. In the 1960s, Fidel Castro had just come to power and Cuba was doing good. A memo from the US that's just been declassified proposed that hunger, desperation, and the overthrow of Fidel should be brought about by cutting off resources. This is not diplomacy, it's war. It's starving populations into submission. Who the fuck gave the US the right to do that?
It's terrorism.
It is. It's absolute terrorism.
Uh-huh.
So how does the cult get away with it? By control over money and technology. Simple. Control over money and technology. The Christian American dream has proven time and time again that the well-being of innocent people is none of their concern. So we must ask ourselves if we can accept 500,000 or more people dying every year from hunger, so we can buy bigger TVs and new vehicles and new phones and have pineapple and bananas and more year-round in comfort. Part of the great Christian American dream cult is that the roots are in Puritanism that created a prevailing belief that suffering and pain are noble and pleasure is sinful and harmful. The Puritan work ethic teaches us that we must pay in advance for any pleasure we get. We've also been sold the lie of original sin, and so we were born as sinners and must pay for pleasure with pain. So in order to get the evening off, we have to pay by working at least 8 hours during the day and driving through rush hour traffic twice. To get the weekend off, we have to work the rest of the week. And to get 2 weeks off in the summer, we have to work 50 straight weeks. We must work until we're senior citizens, and only then we can retire and do what we supposedly wanted to do all along. Only by then we're too sick to do it. This pay first, pleasure later concept has brainwashed us all. And we can notice it in all areas of life when we awaken to this lie. It's even in religion. It's part of religion. For instance, in all the images we have of Jesus who taught love, whose stories of love, 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 the most visible image of him is nailed to a cross, bleeding and dying in anguish, and we worship that.
Good thing my dad took that painting off the wall when it came. He gave me that message.
Yeah, he did.
Like,
he gave you a nice, clear message.
Yeah. Get this thing out of my house.
Yeah. We have been brainwashed by a cult that puts pain on a pedestal and worships it. And we saw that from all the weeks we did on the imposed misery.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, how did we get here? Well, the lie of original sin came from the Council of Carthage that all Christians believe in. We're born in sin. Born in sin. We are sinners by birth. Mm-hmm. Came from the Council of Carthage in 418 AD. Rome was losing power, and the Emperor Augustine needed to convince people that imperial authority comes from God. He wanted people to just accept whatever the external authority dished out as divine and inevitable, and that they deserved it. However, for 300 years before this, most Christians had seen the story of Adam eating the apple, the forbidden fruit, as Adam and Eve's problem only, and it didn't alter human nature. It was the churchmen and Emperor Augustine who created, and I say churchmen, not women, who created the story and lie of the original sin, and that we are ontologically corrupted by it. By birth, we're corrupted by Adam's sin. Right? That's bullshit. How has that evolved now? Oh, PTSD, trauma. You are ontologically corrupted by trauma. Right? This wasn't theology, and it still isn't theology. It's psychology on a civilization-wide scale. If humans are born corrupted with sin and trauma, then suffering isn't injustice, it's mercy. If you're naturally corrupt, then strong authority isn't oppression, it's protection from chaos. And they discovered how to make oppression feel like love. So to make this a divinely ordained story, we have to go back 100 years to the Council of Nicaea and the Emperor Constantine, where the divinity of the man named Jesus, the very human man named Jesus, was decided by a vote. Jesus, who was long dead by then, was set up as God, an absent God, so that Emperor Constantine could become his stand-in, followed by the Pope after that. And so with the political move of creating an external God and authority figure, we have centuries of us having been conditioned and programmed to believe that we need external authority because we are all sinners corrupted ontologically by trauma and eating the wrong fruit at the wrong time of day. That's basic. Or on the wrong day of the week or whatever. And that message is loud and clear in Western medical, all our medical systems. That message is loud and clear. Don't eat this on this day of the week, or don't eat this. It'll corrupt you. It'll make you a sinner. It's not quite that black and white anymore, but that's still the message. So the Council of Nicaea then is where the contempt for others became a political move. So we have anger as an emotion, and emotions pop up and they disappear in 30 to 90 seconds, but we make them toxic, and make them toxic by going from anger into hatred, and from hatred into absolute contempt. So contempt has been a political move for thousands of years now. And among all the Christian leaders called to the Council of Nicaea were 3 women. These 3 women represented a well-established tradition of female leadership that went back to Jesus's ministry of love. Constantine wanted a religious structure that mirrored Roman imperial hierarchy, and in the Roman Empire, women could not be leaders. So in the Council of Nicaea, Christianity became the imperial religion and was brutally imposed, and the 3 women were called there to witness the violent transformation. The emperor had decided that Christianity needed to be structured to be compatible with imperial administration, which meant an exclusive male hierarchy based on the model of Roman magistrates. And please tell me why we're still following this today. The 3 women, of course, protested, and they were physically dragged out of the council and tossed out. They, however, continued being spiritual leaders, and this is nothing we know about. They continued being spiritual leaders, and they developed alternative egalitarian communities with the true teachings of Jesus that were love, peace, and equality. While we had a religious structure that has caused contempt for women and for the other. So the first thing for us to know is that this is a cult, and we can get out of it. We don't have to be part of it. the first step to getting out is to awaken to the immutable, unchanging fact that we are human beings, not human doing machines.
Mm-hmm.
To remember that our bodies are naturally awake and in touch with the vividness and feeling of moment by moment experience. So it's a waking down into the sacred world, not a waking up. Everyone wants us to go up, to transcend out of this earth. So, it's a waking down into the sacred world of feeling, touch, breath, and sensation, and knowing that our bodies are sexual, sensual, and evocative for a purpose. So the first step is awareness, and then we need to evaluate how much time we spend on devices and what drives our behavior, and how do we react impulsively to notifications, or do we engage with attention? And how do our online interactions affect our emotions and thoughts? And then the next step is to awaken to the divine truth that we are made for love, pleasure, equality, and unity, not for trauma, misery, and pain. And so the first step again is awareness, and then we make a choice consistently to shift our focus from misery and pain to pleasure, love, equality, and unity. And so these are all choices for us to make. So will we continue becoming extensions of the machine, or will we awaken?
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's the poem of the centuries of time, of humanity, of everything. That's what everybody should listen here about. Oh man, you said it all in a short way. And who's listening? Is anybody here listening? Please let us know you're alive. Please let us know what you think about this, because there's no other. I mean, we say it and we say it and we bring so much evidence to it, and people are just absent. Somehow it's so difficult to awake people, and it's getting more difficult, don't you think?
Well, it's no, because I mean, it seems like it is, but it's a slow, unfortunately. But it can be faster. But I mean, so Uranus has come above the ecliptic, and Neptune in this retrograde cycle is coming up above the ecliptic, which means, and I think Saturn's going to come above the ecliptic too, which means that there's not going to be any secrets any longer. No more secrets. Everything they've done is going to be exposed. And it's coming. I see it coming on YouTube. YouTube's not right. All this stuff that Baruch Spinoza found that has been buried since the 1600s. Like that Mary Magdalene was the follower, was the next after Jesus, and she ruled as egalitarian, equality, love for 17 years until Peter, who is known supposedly, right? I grew up knowing about Peter and as Mary Magdalene as a prostitute. That's how they denigrated her to come up with this. And I didn't know about the three bishops being tossed out of the Council of Nicaea till this week, and that they were actually very powerful. They led their communities. They had egalitarian communities.
Yeah. So it is coming, and I like to think about the concept of a dam. We are being robbed from our energy, but that energy is being kept and contained, but that dam is going to burst eventually.
It is bursting. It's not eventually. It is bursting. Absolutely, it's bursting.
Great. So, and when that happens, you are going to end up coming to something like this, probably here to Aloha, I Need Out Living. So if you're watching this and if you want to get started, go to alohainidoutliving.com, where you can learn more about this that we're doing, you can download information, you can contact. There's a whole bunch of information on the website. And we're going to be coming each week, bringing you more different subjects, themes, conversations, research from our council house, our investigations, our curriculum. So what's the next one?
Well, next week we're going to talk about the fire in the belly, the fire in the hara, how to
Okay.
become a man and a woman.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah,
We've got to follow that up with this.
that's incredible. Wow, I want to hear it. So it's going to be really, really fun. It's going to be really interesting, and I'm looking forward to it. So come join us next week. We're going to be doing this at 8:15 now, Central
We can
Standard Time.
actually go to 8.
You want to do it? Change it. Come
Yeah,
down to
'cause
8.
I was done with feeding time by 7:50 tonight, 7:51 tonight. By next week, I'll be done by 7:45 and not earlier.
Okay.
Oh.
Well, so 8 o'clock Central Standard
8
Time
o'clock.
for
Yeah.
next conversation. And please stay awake, and please find something that will inspire you to free yourself from this system. And with that, we wish you waterfalls of blessings and hope to see you next week. Goodbye.
Bye.
See, and